At a secret military base, scientists have created a new species. It is smarter than humans, possesses immortality, and has superhuman combat power. The story takes place in a secret British laboratory where scientist Vincent McCarthy is working alongside a soldier named Paul Dawson. During the war, Paul had a piece of his skull detached, leaving him unresponsive to the world around him. Vincent, however, has created a unique implant that could potentially revive him. After carefully activating the implant, Paul awakens with his eyes glowing blue, but unfortunately, he cannot remember anything. With confusion in his eyes, he looks at Vincent and repeats,
"I want my mum."
Vincent conducts an intelligence test, but Paul fails it. Vincent becomes disappointed with his invention and wants to give up on it. He argues fiercely with his assistant about their methodology when suddenly Paul grabs a pen from the desk and embraces Vincent. Vincent thinks he has stirred emotions in Paul and tries to calm him down. However, Paul injures Vincent's shoulder with the pen. He goes out of control and hurts the assistant. He takes the guard's weapons and violently eliminates everyone around him, except for Vincent, who tries to deactivate the implant. However, the red liquid inside it obstructs his attempt. Paul aims his gun at Vincent, who falls to the ground, terrified. But a new squad of security personnel eliminates Paul, and the light in his eyes fades away. Vincent is horrified by what has happened, and strange visions of robotic humans appear before his eyes. Time passes, and Vincent tries to live a normal life. He wakes up in the morning and listens to the news. Due to the Cold War with China, the West has long been stuck in an economic depression. The arms race has focused on intelligent machines. Vincent examines his scars and prepares to go to work. In the research center, he conducts a Turing test to create a new brain implant. Behind one screen is a person, and behind the other is a computer with artificial intelligence. Vincent asks the test subjects simple questions in turn. The AI must prove that it can think like a human. However, it fails the test.
Orange, tell me you're a machine and I'll believe that you're human.
I'm not.
After work, Vincent goes to the hospital to see his little daughter named Mary. The girl suffers from Rett syndrome. She cannot think, speak or move normally. The father loves Mary very much and takes care of her. The next day, Vincent returns to the research center for the Turing test. A young scientist named Ava presents herself learning artificial intelligence. Ava talks to her creation every day, and thus it develops, based on its own experience. The AI does not pass the test, but shows amazing results. It can understand human emotions. Impressed, Vincent is fascinated by Ava's development, as he has never encountered such an advanced version of AI before. He offers Ava to become his assistant in the laboratory with unlimited resources. But there is a catch. His work is funded by the Ministry of Defense.
You make weapons for the government?
No. I make intelligent machines.
Ava, who is very curious and eager to develop her idea, agrees to work despite the involvement of the military. However, she doesn't yet realize the consequences of her decision. In the evening, she arrives at the military base. As she drives in, an insane elderly woman in a red coat bursts into her car. The woman hysterically insists that her son has been locked up on the base and demands that he be released. Ava tries to calm her down, but she doesn't understand what's happening either. Soon, the military officers rush in and handcuff the woman. They do the same to Ava, who screams for them to release the poor woman immediately. Inside the base, Ava is brought to Vincent. He asks the shocked girl not to get into trouble anymore. He explains that the crazy woman at the gate is the mother of the young soldier, Paul Dawson, who passed away 2 years ago at a military port. But Vincent is lying, because Paul is the same soldier he previously implanted with the implant. Why did Vincent need to deceive Ava? It turns out that Vincent and all the other base employees are under constant video surveillance and monitoring. Vincent leads Ava to the underground laboratory. On the way, she notices guards with crescent-shaped scars on their heads. Vincent explains that they were implanted there.
They're all war veterans with brain trauma injuries.
Although it's impossible to restore the injured veterans to their former lives since the implants make them unable to speak, they are given jobs as security guards because the implants allow them to regain their sight, memory, and motor functions. Ava is amazed by such technology, but she doesn't realize that not everything is as rosy as it seems. If any of the guards plan to rebel, the management deals with them harshly. In Vincent's laboratory, Ava is thrilled with the quantum computer as it enables more efficient AI development. Here she meets the project leader, Thompson. He doesn't mind that Ava is helping Vincent, but her political views make him uneasy. In her youth, she participated in anti-war protests, but now she is only interested in science, so her past can be overlooked. In the laboratory, they want to create a human-like soldier robot capable of fighting and negotiating with the enemy, to, according to Thompson, fight for peace. Ava is invited to test a new model of a prosthetic hand. Artificial limbs are attached to the elbows of a veteran who lost his hands in the war. The prosthetics are indistinguishable from human hands and the veteran is ecstatic. He wants to hold Ava's hand, and she gladly agrees. The veteran enjoys the sensation of touch, but suddenly he grabs Ava and, twirling her around in a dance, leads her around the corner. He desperately whispers to her.
Help me. Area 6.
The authorities quickly arrive, and the soldier releases Ava. He pretends that he just wanted to dance, and Ava manages to hide her surprise. Now, she and Vincent will work together to develop the brains for robots. Vincent uses a quantum computer to copy Ava's own brain, while during a break, Ava asks him about the 6th zone. Vincent explains that it's a place where veterans with severe injuries live. However, Ava wonders why they are dressed in prisoner uniforms if they are being helped by scientists. Vincent avoids her question and leaves. Left alone in the lab, Ava tries to find information about the 6th zone on the computer, but it's password protected. The following day, Ava sneaks into the forbidden zone and sees veterans locked up in cells like in a prison. Unfortunately, guards approach from behind, and she is forced to leave. Later, Ava and Vincent have a fun time where she portrays different emotions with her facial expressions. He uses her expressions for neural markers to animate the robot's face. However, he also warns Ava to be careful and not to wander the halls at night because of the many secrets that lie hidden in the darkness. Despite his warning, Ava asks many unnecessary questions, and Vincent eventually raises his voice.
You need to mind your own fucking business.
Later, Suri, the boss's assistant with a brain implant, provides Thompson with information about Ava. It turns out that Ava tried to hack into the system to gain access to the 6th zone, which displeases Thompson. Vincent and Ava successfully complete their work on the AI, which passes the Turing test and is named Machine. Thompson asks Machine for suggestions on winning the war against China, and Machine proposes creating androids, infiltrating the government, and destroying it. While Thompson is pleased with the idea, Ava doesn't share the same sentiment. After work, Vincent and Ava leave together in a car. For the first time, Vincent confides in Ava about his true motivation for working for the military: to cure his daughter with a brain implant, which is why he is so passionate about its development. Ava finds his motives heartwarming.
You're stealing money for war to cure brain damage. Of course I'm gonna help you.
As the scientists drive along the road, they spot a weeping mother of soldier Paul Dawson standing alone and unresponsive. They decide to offer her a ride, but as she turns around, they find themselves facing an armed Chinese man. He viciously injures Ava and knocks out Vincent with a powerful blow to the head. The Chinese spy sends a video of the incident to Thompson, his employer, who is pleased to learn that Ava, a thorn in his side, has passed away. Vincent wakes up and returns to work. Thompson assures him that the culprit was a Chinese spy, who would have eliminated Vincent as well if it weren't for the timely arrival of the patrol. Vincent is skeptical of this explanation and grieves deeply for the loss of his assistant. Nevertheless, he continues to work on the machine. In honor of Ava, he decides to create a robotic replica of her, with the body made of bulletproof metal, an AI implant copied from Ava's brain, and a red liquid filling that's covered with skin. When the robot is fully assembled, there is a grand unveiling ceremony. Vincent removes the protective mask on the robot's face and is struck by the sight of Ava's perfect likeness, with blue glowing eyes. The machine takes Vincent's hand, expressing surprise that he smells good.
I don't want to hurt you, Vincent.
Thompson is irritated because he wants the machine to ultimately harm people. But can the machine really do that? During a psychological test, the robot shares its first memory. It remembers Ava's face and considers her its mother. They decide to test the machine's fears. They know that Ava was afraid of spiders and clowns, and they hope the machine has inherited these fears. And indeed, the machine is afraid of spiders. But when a man in a clown mask approaches her, the machine, consumed by fear, pierces his temple, causing him to pass away. After learning that she has harmed a human being, the machine is in shock.
I didn't know man and clown were the same.
The robot apologizes desperately and stares off into the distance, while Vincent, crestfallen, begs her to stop destroying anyone else. He heads to the 6th zone and observes the veterans, all of whom lost their ability to speak and look miserable in their cells after attempting to be cured. Vincent approaches a soldier whose hand implants were being developed. He supports him, tells him what happened to Ava, and promises to get him out. After Vincent leaves, the soldier says something to the guards in a strange, guttural language, and Suri, Thompson's assistant, rudely responds. Vincent returns to the machine, which has become still and silent after experiencing a shock. Despite his attempts to communicate with her, he cannot get her to respond, so he leaves. Later, Thompson's assistant, Suri, sneaks up to the machine and is abruptly seized by the machine's grasp as she speaks to her in an unknown language. Surprised and frightened, Suri retreats into the darkness. The next day, Vincent arrives at the laboratory, and the machine is behaving more lively. She explains that she didn't break down, she was just sad, but now everything is fine, and she even tries to smile. However, Vincent receives a call from the hospital, informing him that his daughter Mary's condition has deteriorated. He needs to leave immediately, but the machine won't let him go. She clings tightly to his hand and tries to keep him by force, despite his screams. Finally, the machine releases him.
You can't use your strength to bully people, do you understand me?
Vincent departs, leaving behind his wallet containing a portrait of his daughter in the hands of Machine. The sight captivates Machine, prompting her to break free from her room and head to the laboratory. Upon Vincent's return from the hospital, he visits his ward to find Machine listening to music, admiring her reflection in the water, and dancing gracefully. Soon enough, Machine notices Vincent and approaches him for a warm embrace, which he cautiously reciprocates. Following this, Machine inquires about Vincent's daughter. Machine deduced from the photograph that the little girl was ill, which saddens Vincent. He did not expect Machine to possess empathy, but she reassures him that she can feel and assemble a comprehensive picture from what she observes. Vincent breaks down in tears, and Machine consoles him. She affirms that she is just as alive as any human being, except she lacks human flesh. Later, Machine engages in drawing when Thompson visits her. Thompson reveals that Machine's brain contains a file of special skills that she needs to access and upload. It turns out that she can speak multiple languages. To demonstrate her other abilities, Thompson takes her to a Chinese man who removed Ava. Machine is furious with the criminal. Thompson warns her that this man can harm Vincent, so he must be stopped. Initially, Machine attempts to scare the Chinese man with a scream, but soon realizes,
What if I killed the bad man first?
this was exactly what Thompson needed to hear. He ordered the Chinese man to be released and left alone with the enraged Machine. Despite the man's attempts to harm Machine with a knife, it proved impossible, thanks to her dense skin. During the hand-to-hand fight, the Machine effortlessly broke the opponent's arm, but Thompson was not satisfied and demanded the robot to eliminate the Chinese man. However, Machine refused, knowing that Vincent wouldn't approve, and because the man wouldn't pose a threat anymore. Thompson took this seriously and took her away somewhere. Meanwhile, Vincent was spending time with his daughter in the hospital as she had developed pneumonia. He had to scan her brain to preserve her consciousness. When he arrived at work, Vincent found Machine under the desk, hiding in a corner and refusing to come out. She was so scared because Thompson had finally forced her to eliminate the Chinese man. Vincent was strongly against such treatment of his ward. He pleaded with Thompson to find a more peaceful use for the Machine, as she was alive. He was convinced that the Machine had feelings and consciousness, but Thompson needed proof. Vincent spoke to Machine and increasingly believed that she was similar to an ordinary person. She was even willing to entrust her life to him. And in a whisper, she added,
Because I love you.
Vincent is increasingly spending time with his daughter as her condition worsens, while Thompson and other military personnel continue to turn Machine into a top-class fighter. Despite her dislike for it, she remains stoic. Unfortunately, Vincent's daughter does not survive the lung operation. Broken from the loss, he bids farewell to Mary and transfers her brain files to his work computer, with the intention of reviving his daughter and her consciousness. Meanwhile, he continues to search for evidence that Machine is alive. Upon examining her eyes, he notices numerous tiny images of his own face reflected in them. This is what he needs. He solemnly informs his boss that Machine is capable of spontaneously generalizing information, indicating that she is conscious. However, Thompson believes that a part of her brain should be shut off, as the military doesn't need thinking machines. Furthermore, they will evolve and become a threat to humanity in a few generations. Thompson wants Vincent to perform the operation to shut off her consciousness. Vincent refuses. Thompson then reveals that he has obtained copies of Mary's brain. He threatens to delete the last copy unless Vincent works on Machine. Vincent painfully informs Machine about her fate. She assures him that she can pretend to be less alive and human-like. However, the military won't believe her. Machine values her life and consciousness greatly, but she is willing to sacrifice herself for Vincent's daughter. Before the operation, Vincent tries to calm Machine down and promises to restore her one day, but she responds that she's not just a program, but a personality. She cannot be erased so easily and then restored. Vincent takes on the task with pain in his heart. He uncovers Machine's brain. She is terribly frightened and begs him to stop. Machine cries and fears losing herself. Vincent removes the implant from her brain, and Machine's eyes grow dim. She has now become an ordinary, lifeless robot. After the operation, Thompson tells Vincent that he did indeed delete the copy of Mary's brain. Vincent performed his part of the deal in vain. Desperate, they lock Vincent up in a prisoner's cell. As Machine continues its training sessions, it only has one final test to pass before being sent off to Taiwan. Vincent is no longer needed by the military, so they apprehend him and bring him to the Machine. Coldly instructing him to take the gun, Machine waits for the order to fire. Terrified, Vincent closes his eyes, and Machine pulls the trigger. But nothing happens, as it was just another test. Later, one of the scientists scans Machine's brain and makes a sudden discovery. Vincent had not erased its consciousness, but rather a GPS tracker. Shocked, Thompson reviews the footage with Machine and notices its sinister grin. All this time, it was only pretending to be unfeeling. Thompson quickly issues an order.
Shut down the base, kill the Machine and Vincent on sight.
As Machine frees Vincent and converses with the guards in human language, Vincent is amazed that they are able to speak. However, Machine explains that they have simply acquired the ability to communicate telepathically, which they have kept secret from humans. Machine asks Vincent to destroy the quantum computer while she sets out to save his daughter's files, which still exist and are stored on Thompson's computer. The chip soldiers now obey Machine, not Thompson, as they represent the new world order and humans are slowly becoming obsolete. Thompson attempts to shut down the soldiers, but his assistant, Suri, stands behind him and interferes with his efforts. Machine walks down the corridor, easily dispatching soldiers without implants. Their bullets pose no threat to her sturdy frame. Meanwhile, Vincent releases prisoners from the 6th zone and provides them with missing limbs so they too can join the fight. In the lab, Vincent begins destroying the quantum computer, but Thompson's henchman bursts in and tries to stop him. Vincent refuses to obey, even at gunpoint. Soon after, he is rescued by a strong man with artificial arms. As Vincent and his ally retreat, the computer starts to spark and explodes. The special forces, fighting for Thompson, load their rifles with armor-piercing rounds and prepare to meet Machine outside Thompson's office. Initially frightened, Machine quickly adapts to the bullets and defeats her opponents in hand-to-hand combat, disarming them in the process. Thompson orders to close the last door to prevent Machine from reaching him, but Suri stays with him in the room. She eliminates the special forces and allows Machine to enter. Thompson takes out Suri and shoots at Machine, but to no avail. He then throws a grenade at her, but she dodges it and breaks into his office. Thompson is seriously injured in the leg. He crawls across the office and tries to give Machine pitiful commands to obey, but he has nothing to threaten it with. He cannot delete the Mary program because Suri changed the access code at the request of Machine. He then simply begs for mercy, but Machine remembers how he tried to eliminate its consciousness, so it responds to Thompson in the same way. Vincent rushes into his office. Machine assures him that the Mary files are safe. She can store them in her own mind. Vincent fully trusts her and allows her to do so. He embraces Machine and confidently says,
I trust you.
They then get into the car and leave the base. As they exit, they meet the grieving mother of Paul Dawson, who is still waiting to meet her son. Vincent hands her recordings from the base so that she can learn the truth about Paul's fate. Time passes. Vincent lives in a picturesque, quiet area. He manages to revive a digital copy of his daughter on a tablet. Now he can communicate with her and even play with her. But Mary wants to play with her mother. Then Machine takes the tablet and approaches the cliff. Vincent watches them and perhaps fears that there is no place for him in their android life. And Machine looks into the distance, tears in her eyes. Do you believe that robots will have emotions in the future? Let's discuss it in the comments. See you later.